Once upon a time, many years ago, we had a president and executive by the name of Richard Milhouse Nixon. And this man was a criminal by every definition of the word. From illegal wiretaps and monitoring the Democratic National Convention and the Democratic National Headquarters to assuring an electoral win by making backdoor deals with the Vietnamese government. This man was a criminal, and we should have dealt with him thusly because that would have showed us how to deal with Donald Trump. Good day, everybody. This is Mark Carter Pierce, the U.S. senatorial candidate from Pennsylvania for 2028. I'm an independent, and you are on the bonus reel. So today I want to talk about Richard Nixon and Donald Trump. Or another good title for this could be What to Do When Dealing with a Rogue Executive. Because that's what you had. You see, back in the 1960s, the late 1960s going into 1970, we had the Vietnam War going on. At the time, we had more casualties, both civilian in Vietnam and militarily, than any other war that we fought to date. There was a huge outcry. I'm a baby boomer. I was born in 1962. I'm from the flower power generation and all that, and the anti-war folks. You might want to remember that Donald Trump had his daddy write a note saying that he had bone spurs just to avoid the draft. He got 5 deferments to avoid going to Vietnam. Guess what? I have bone spurs too. And I still did my duty, and I still served the public as a law enforcement officer. So I don't know how that excuse carried, but whatever, okay? Anyway, the war was very unpopular. And what Richard Nixon did was he made a backdoor deal as the Eisenhower campaign was trying to end the war. Nixon's people went to Vietnam and said, listen, just keep it going. Let me get elected, and then we'll end it right there. They co-conspired with the Vietnamese government. Yes, he did. And that's just the first. Of course, he won that election, but that was just the beginning of the criminality, because there was the Watergate Hotel and the Democratic National Convention, and how he eavesdropped and planted bugs in recording devices inside of the Watergate Hotel, how he went to the Democratic National Headquarters and bugged that place to spy on them. His administration was so bad that his vice president, Spiro Agnew, got caught taking a bribe across his desk. This is how bad it was. And even worse was when Nixon tried to cover it up. He had several teams. One team was called the Plumbers, which was supposed to stop the leaks. He had the firemen, who were supposed to quell the rhetoric and put out the fires, as he called them. This is all criminality. It's criminal conspiracy. And what did he do? I guess Trump took a lesson from this, because what Nixon did was now known as the Saturday Night Massacre, where he went in when they appointed a special counsel to the case. Nixon went in and fired everybody. Everybody. but he got impeached. And when he found out that the votes weren't there, that this was so deep, this is back when Republican politicians had somewhat of a sense of decency. When they realized that the cover-ups and everything just weren't going to fly with the American people and their party was going to take a hell of a hit for it, they told Nixon, you don't have the votes. You're not going to get acquitted. So Nixon did the next best thing. He resigned. And his vice president, on his removal, according and constitutionally correct, his vice president, Gerald Ford, who took the place of Spiro Agnew, assumed the presidency. And what did Gerald Ford do as he was finishing Nixon's term? He pardoned him. So Nixon got away with all that criminality scot-free. The outrage was considerable. And even though he was pardoned, he lived the rest of his life in disgrace and isolation because he could never, ever shake what he did. And what made it worse is the fact that by all measurable ways, he got away with it. He never got punished for it. Fast forward to today, and we have Donald Trump, the pedophile in chief, the great divider. And I know the MAGAs are going to have a hell of a lot to say about this. And frankly, I don't give a fuck. See, my problem isn't with Republican voters. My problem is with MAGA politicians and all you Trump ass kissers out there who see the abominations that are going on as we speak and remain quiet and have the nerve to make excuses for him. Are you fucking serious? They were smart enough not to do this when Richard Nixon got caught red-handed. But look at what we've got here. We've got a man who did an illegal bombing on Iran and put American civilians and soldiers' lives at stake. We got a man doing the bidding of Israel. It's reported that yesterday's bombing was sanctioned, it was, of course, committed by Israel, but it was sanctioned by Donald Trump, for Christ's sake. If you're not going to solve the problem diplomatically with a two-state solution, which is what's required here, then shut the fuck up and stay out of it. But wait, there's more. Because under false pretenses, and you already got caught once violating posse comitatus, we're waiting for the outcome of that. But you say that you want the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, you know what? Way to go getting that Peace Prize by putting military troops to do law enforcement activities on American streets, which is what posse comitatus is all about, and you're violating it. Look at your ethnic cleansing. And if you agree with all this mass deportation, Stephen Miller shit, then you're a bigot, and I'm telling you so. Because you need a lot of these immigrants that are here. Immigrants built this country. Did you know that? The Chinese brought the rail system here. The black people, the African Americans, did all the hard labor here and contributed inventions that they don't get the credit for. You need them to keep the food chains alive, to do the warehouses that you won't do because it's too hard to work and it doesn't pay enough. But you know what? They'll do it because even that little bit of pay that they get here is better than the bullshit they got to deal with where they came from. That's why they came here. And for most of you Caucasians, I want you to know That's how your ancestors came here. If your name isn't Running Wolf, Whispering Wolf, Walking Woman, Two Bears, Saskatchewan, if you don't have a name like that in your fucking family, then you're not indigenous. You are an immigrant. Trump is an immigrant. His father, Alexander, came here and got deported because he was a criminal and snuck back. And when he came back, he brought a lot of pro-Hitler rhetoric here. Fred is his anchor baby. Fred, who was a member of the KKK, thus making Donald the KKK legacy. We don't want to talk about that. Of course we don't. We want to keep that quiet. It was so enjoyable to watch those women at Joe's Seafood in D.C. last night who stood up because they were a table away from Trump, Vance, and Hegseth shooting off at the mouth, reveling in the joy of the evil that they have done. And those women stood up and started chanting about how Trump is the modern day Hitler. It was so bad. He waved his hand around and said, "Get him out, get him out." Couldn't remove him. Trump had to flee. But here's what the bottom line comes down to. You see all this evil. You see him consolidating power through fear and tyranny against both American citizens and, those people that work in hospitality, that work in hotels and restaurants and pick your damn food, shit that you're not going to do. The farmers are just going through hell again, just like they did in his first term. Only then we bailed him out. This time he ain't got it because he gave all the damn money to the billionaires. Kicking so many people off of Medicaid or SNAP. Kids. America's most vulnerable people is who he hurts. While he smirks and smiles at himself making all this money off of Bitcoin, right? But guess what? He says he wants to go to heaven. Fat chance, buddy. Fat chance. Let me tell you what should have happened. And this is not just a Republican problem, it's a Democrat problem too. And here's why. The example should have been set in 1973. Gerald Ford should not have pardoned Richard Nixon, but rather let him deal with the criminal consequences that were destined to come. And if he got convicted and went to prison, then so be it, because he earned it. He broke the law. Listen, if he himself said, we're a nation of laws and nobody is above the law. That includes the office of the president. Somebody needs to tell that to Trump too, because he thinks he's King Ding Moogaluga, whatever. Everybody is treated the same in the eyes of the law. They're supposed to be. No one is above the law, Donald. Nobody is above the law. And what should have happened, Mitch McConnell should have convicted you in the Senate. He could have done it, and he didn't. He decided, well, we're so close to the end, let the criminal courts deal with it. Well, there's a failure there too. First of all, Mitch McConnell should have done it, and that would have guaranteed he could never come back in office again. Because he's adjudicated. We saw it. I watched it go down on January 6, 2021. I saw it. So did most of America. The courts, 3 separate courts have found. Not only did he initiate it, instigate it, but he participated in it. And I'm talking insurrection here. They should have banged him. Mitch McConnell should have banged him. But Mitch McConnell is an old coward, and that's why you do need to have term limits to get these old cowards out. And next up is the fact that even though he got away with it then, if I was Merrick Garland, January 21st, I'd have dropped charges on his back. You waited too long. And that's how he got away with it this time. You waited too long. And by the time you can maybe catch up to him, he'll probably be dead. I mean, he'll go to the ultimate judgment then. You got to deal with God on that one. But on this earth, not unless something really spirited and major happens. I want to ask the old school Republicans out there, the ones that were like the Eisenhower, the late 60s Republicans. Is this what you voted for with Donald Trump? Is this what you really voted for? That's my question. Is this what you voted for? I don't think so. That's why most Republicans are against him now. There's only those brainwashed MAGA cultists that are down with him and his friends that he did favors for and getting him into politics. They're with him, but there's a lot less of them than there are of us. True Americans, true patriots, true followers, believers, upholders, and protectors of the Constitution. Donald Trump pisses all over it, but we don't. We value it. We hold it in esteem because without that, we wouldn't have a country. I condemn Donald Trump and all of his backers, everyone in his cabinet, J.D. Vance, even the conservative wing of the Supreme Court, his cultists. I condemn them as un-American and unpatriotic for just sitting back and making excuses during the destruction of our country. It's not right. It's far from fair. And, Donald, you've been looking for an excuse. You've been looking for a fight. You've been looking for an excuse so that you could scream martial law. I know it. Anybody with a brain that's familiar with things knows what you're trying to do. Because once you get martial law, then you can lock down and consolidate your power. And that's when you're going to go full-blown authoritarian, and we're going to change into communist Russia. You're going to take it right out of Orban and Putin's playbook. Not to mention Mussolini. You're going to play that whole hand. We see it. But here's what I want to tell you. I want to put out 2 warnings today. The first warning is to Democratic politicians. You see how scared that the Republicans got when Trump and Musk started threatening them and telling them that they would primary them? You saw that? Never mind Trump and Musk. You have to worry about we the people primarying you. Because if you're not gonna stand up for this fight, then we don't need you. America doesn't need you. This is the time. This is the place for it. This is where you do your job, damn it. And if you don't want to do it, we'll find somebody who will. That's number 1. And number 2 is for you, Donald. The fight that, like I just said a minute ago, you're looking for a vehicle that you can declare martial law with. Well, I'm here to tell you today that the fight you're looking for is not the fight that you're going to get, Donald. No, 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 no. We're not going to give you a reason to bring your communist Hitler-esque battalion of state police in here, federal police. We're not going to give you the chance to form that, Donald. But we definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, are going to make sure that your fat, ugly, smelly, stinking, miserable orange ass gets thrown out of the White House. And you and JD and your cabinet are going with him. And once we do that, it'll be a miracle if you can stay out of prison before you croak. And that's just the facts. This is the truth. This is what it is. I don't care if you don't like it. It's right in front of your face. I guarantee more people will see it than you idiot MAGAs that are going to make stupid comments that are only going to get deleted anyway. Hey, you're owning the libs, huh? Yeah, so that's what you think you're doing. All you're doing is getting ignored because you're fighting the wrong fight here. Talk that shit on a MAGA program, not here. I am independent U.S. Senate candidate for 2028 from the great state of Pennsylvania, Mark Carter Pierce. God bless you all. This has been the bonus reel. See you next week.